Welcome to Wiggly Wigglers, broadcasting to the world from Lower Blakemere Farm. I'm Heather, and I'm joined today by...
Farmer Phil.
And I've gone round the wrong way, and...
Richard.
Put him in his place.
Absolutely.
Just when you thought everything was going the same, I've introduced you the wrong way round. There we are. Well, what's happening this week? We've got Monty with his pig cast. Now, last week you will have heard that we're going to redefine the chocolate rating. It's a serious business. It takes some thought. We've been stocking up on various different types of chocolate. Pembertons have come in from Wales. We've definitely got Podchef's Divine. Green and black has arrived. But if you have a chocolate that you need to send in to alter our chocolate rating, you can send it to Wiggly Wigglers, Lower Blakemere Farm, Blakemere, Herefordshire, HR2, 9PX, England.
No. Heather, that is just blatant begging, isn't it? Just send me your chocolate. That is just outrageous. We have restructured the chocolate rating. It is in place. You don't need any more chocolate,
Yes,
do you?
we do. And please ensure that you don't just send one bar, because I think it's important that when one is tasting chocolate that you have it on a sort of daily basis, because your taste buds grow and you need to feel the love of that chocolate. So big bars of chocolate, please, to Wiggly Wigglers, Lower Blakemere Farm, Blakemere, Herefordshire, HR2 9PX, and please mark them for the attention of Heather Mary Gorringe.
I don't know about big bars of chocolate. I think that's going to end up in big wives.
Making wives even bigger.
That's okay, because I'm also part of Middle Age Shed, where barns reduce to shed online. Originally we were called Middle Age Barns, and now we're called Middle Age Sheds, and we're hoping to be called Middle Age Kiosk.
Golly, I think you've got some way to go.
Oh. No, it's all right.
Sorry, it's only for effect for the podcast.
Yeah,
I don't read it really.
Be about your third sacking this year, then. It's for effect.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I'll soon be airbrushed out as well. I wonder what Michael could put next to the Bokashi trench.
Maybe
Comes to all of us.
Yeah, maybe just a massive courgette.
Yeah, maybe. The massive courgette there now.
Talking of which, we've got our new catalogue is just about to come out. I love New Catalogue Day. If you can hear that, listener, that is the farm facts. So that will be a fact of something of great importance to Phil, like a DEFRA form, or a cattle movement form, or a wheat collection form, or most probably a buy one, get one free mobile telephone form.
They're usually the sort of thing.
Who uses facts now?
So we're all sort of just dabbling in Facebook, and I know that you are a keen Facebook user, and I also know from my initial experiences that there are a growing number of people on the Wiggly Wigglers group. Can somebody who isn't registered with Facebook look at anything in Facebook just as a means of seeing what's going on, and how difficult, if you can't do that, is it to register?
Well, it would go against the grain, really, for people to just be able to dip into Facebook, because the whole idea about it is that you've got some trust built up between the people in there. They call it friends, but, it's really acquaintances, I suppose, really. But then again, in life we call people friends, and they're really acquaintances, aren't they? But anyway, the idea is that before I impart information with you, Rich, on Facebook, I know who you are. So to come into Facebook, you need to join. It's as simple as registering and setting yourself up with a profile.
And it's free.
Oh yes, it's free. Yep. And then you just find the Wiggly Wigglers group if you want to delve into it. At the moment, today, we've got about 180 members, and they currently got 21 discussion topics on the go. Once again, there's 20 of them that are wonderfully useful and going really well. And then number 21, once again, is cats, which sadly does get updated on a daily basis, as far as I can see. There's now 20 posts on there, and I keep trying to end it, but it's no good.
No.
They're going to come back with the dreadful thing that is a cat, allegedly.
It was an interesting one, because I thought, let's liven this discussion board up a bit. Let's put something about cats in there. And Roger, who came to help us yesterday on Family Day, was talking about when he sat in on the Wiggly podcast way back when Phil and I had our hedge row.
Yeah.
And he said it was like, it's great. He said, have you wound Phil up again recently? I said, no, I haven't really. And Phil and I were rattling yesterday, and we haven't managed to aggravate one another for a while, so I'm kind of thinking that the time has come.
I tried to aggravate Ricardo by telling him that I had finally brought him round to my school of thought and that I'd beaten some sense into him, and that didn't even wind him up, so I assume that is now the case.
Perhaps I've just turned into this subservient, forelock tugging.
Well, you've obviously been doing plenty of forelock tugging.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't have a forelock now. But Facebook is good, and it was interesting about the cat debate. But the reason that I'm opening a discussion about cats, for instance, might take us on to other things. But it's good that people are able to express themselves.
No, it won't. It just takes us to
What I
cats.
found was really unfortunate is that when somebody writes something and they post it and they suddenly think, perhaps I shouldn't have written that, because even though that's the way they feel as though they might be persecuted for expressing their feelings, which is a shame. Because I think Facebook is very much about things like that. That kind of medium is very much about expressing yourself and not having a punch in the nose.
But that's a good thing, isn't it?
Because, you're miles away from everybody, so it's
But that's the whole thing about what we talk about a lot of the time, is that yours and my discussions, arguments, whatever, in the past, they have resulted from people shooting their mouth off without actually thinking about the consequences. And when you do think about the consequences and think about the issue and actually give a measured response, you, as we found out, spend a lot less time arguing.
I've always found that you argue with people that you tend to like the most, oddly, because...
Oh, Rich, I didn't know you cared.
I don't care. But no, what I'm saying is the people that you've got a bit of time for, you are, your friends and stuff, your family, and that, you're always arguing, aren't you, about various things, because it means something for your friends to be able to appreciate your opinions, and otherwise, why are you going to bother?
I think you're right.
Unless you're a politician.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think that the difference between Facebook and normal life and things like this and normal life is that in the pub you might have an argument and it's forgotten about in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
But on Facebook it is there for a heck of a long period.
Yeah.
And so although they do become less important, they're always there and you can always go back to them. I quite like that because it can show how your views can change as well, which is quite good.
It can actually. There is that, because then you can trawl through previous responses and then see how people might come round to your train of thought.
But for those people who think that it's just a big row on Facebook, it's not. It's a really, really nice community. It's lovely seeing all our listeners as well as our Wiggly customers online and finding out about their gardens and their lives. I've just found a great contact called April Simpson, who actually draws, they're sort of in between cartoons and pictures, I suppose, and we're going to use her in the next Wiggly catalogue.
Excellent.
There we are. Okay, so talking about the next Wiggly catalogue, let's go to a Monty Pigcast, shall we?
We'll talk about the next catalogue. Let's go to a Pigcast. Where's there?
There's another prime example of slickness, I think.
Yeah. I thought the pigs yesterday were superb. The way those kids went in with the pigs. I mean, I'm glad I did that big lengthy risk assessment beforehand. But it was superb. Little tiny tackers in there with those big old soft pigs, completely non-aggressive. Just tickle me, just scratch me. That's great.
Well, we had to overcome the fact that we got some noisy kids and some really demure kids.
I must tell the listener that yesterday we had a family day, so that's why they're wittering on about this. Family day yesterday at Wiggly Wigglers. What, I don't know, 12 families or so? How many?
About 25 people altogether.
About 25
anyway,
people.
whatever.
Yeah.
Came along and enjoyed the Ricardo experience and went into the pigs. Did you tickle them then?
Well, yeah, because I remember when I was that age, the first time you scratch or touch a pig, it doesn't feel like you think it's going to. And I asked the kids, what did you expect the pig to feel like? Soft and pink and furry. And they said, yeah, and of course they're bristly and scratchy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you set them to scratch the pig until it falls over in ecstasy, and that just cracks them up. I mean, they just thought that was fantastic. And the pig duly keeled over.
Isn't it incredible? Yeah, I mean, they're amazing. To think those things were, 8 weeks ago, were practically wild, and now they're letting a whole host of kiddywinks run around them and scratch behind their ears.
Monty's Pigcast, a weekly fact on pigs. Fishermen were very suspicious of pigs and would never say the word out loud.
Thank you, Monty.
I've got an email in a couple of weeks ago from Patrice Reed, and she says, "Hi Heather, since the beginning of your podcasts, I've been wondering, what's Milka chocolate? I rang my friends in New Zealand, what would they know? And they didn't have a clue. I got my friend Lucy, who just went on a garden tour in England, to hunt for it. No one she spoke to had ever heard of it. One lady reckoned it was French. It must be rather nice if it's top of the chocolate rating. Lucy's husband brought me back a Nestle Milky Bar, hoping that would satisfy my curiosity. However, we all know what rating Nestle falls into, the 1 rating. 1 for inedible. Yes, you can't have a Milky Bar. Definitely not, Patrice. Also, I asked Lucy to get a copy of your book for me. She had a hard time finding it. No one that she asked had ever heard of Wiggly Wigglers. Can you imagine? Heaps of us in California know of Wiggly Wigglers. The very last day, a very discouraged Lucy was in the shop at RHS Wisley when she spotted it under a shelf inside a drawer at the back. There were 2 copies. At last I have one, and I'm excited to sit down with a nice cuppa and read it. All the best, Patrice Reed in California.
There you are. Well, there you are.
Now, any other Californians listening, just order it from Wiggly Wigglers and we'll post it to you. It's no problem at all. Have no worries about us getting it to you. We will send it.
And you're going to California soon.
Shall I drop them off? I'll drop them off. Anyone, any podcast listener.
I wonder if you should mention your route when for the listener, because then you might get some invitations to stay in people's houses.
Oh,
get
fantastic.
Some nice home-cooked food.
And that's how to get a Wiggly book
and
free.
meet some Wiggly podcast listeners on the old Western Seaboard. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be fan-dabby-dozy. Any podcast listener who would like me to stay for the evening, I will behave, and I will bring you a tasty bit of Milka before it gets banned, and a free Wiggly book in return for an evening at home with you.
Free Wiggly book. So how many books are you going to take in your suitcase then? Over to...
I could post them on.
Who cares?
Anyway, I really would like to meet up with any podcast listeners.
Which we could save a shilling or two, actually, because if we got a crate and put Heather and the books in the crate, boxed her up, send her air freight, that'd be much cheaper, because when she gets on an airplane and she gets delving in all them accoutrements and food and extras and so on,
accoutrements,
expensive one to run, that one. If we crated her up, that'd keep her quiet.
Absolute rubbish. But I would like to see anybody's garden who would like to show it to me. I am starting in LA on the 25th of September, and I'm going to the podcast conference. So then from the 30th to the 15th of October, I'm kind of in and about California in my car. I've got in my mind Thelma and Louise soft top, but I expect I'll end up with a Ford Granada.
Or something similar.
Yeah. New catalogue day's coming up, and we usually call it a work of art, and this time it really is a work of art, because on page 60 we have a Mary mosaic of beans and seeds, and I love it.
It's very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, superb.
Tell us about these beans and seeds, Rich, because you have found them, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I was quite lucky, really. I went down to Marlborough Flower Show at the early part of this year, and I met someone down there who was an organic grower producing English-grown seeds, vegetable seeds, lovely woman called Pippa, and subsequently made a plan to supply some of her seed. I did buy some seed off her when I was down there for our garden at home, and I got some of the summer squashes, courgettes, some of the Nero di Milano. It's very difficult.
He's
I have a problem with pronunciation there.
Robert?
Nero di Milano.
Right.
But they're a nice, incredibly tasty courgette. I think everyone seems to have found them quite tasty.
Oh, I've had them. And I followed your recipe with garlic, and I grated it,
Yeah.
and it was absolutely yummy with a bit of steak.
Right, that's
from a
quite
local
nice.
farmer just up the road.
Yeah. We had a courgette lasagna the night as well, which is gorgeous. So, because we've been trying to we've eaten very little meat this year because we've had lots and lots of veggies. So we've been trying to keep up with the vegetables in the garden, which is working out really well at the moment.
You're not becoming a vegetarian, are you?
No, I don't think I'll be a vegetarian, but it's amazing how little meat we have eaten. And we've eaten a lot of fish because, of course, the summer I tend to catch a lot of fish as well to eat, so that's working out rather well. Some of the sugar squashes, I've grown those, and they're quite... because squash plants are amazing, like triffids, you need a lot of space for them, they just grow everywhere. And I planted them in different situations. Some, when I had to treated my waste with bokashi earlier on, I put them around in the bean trenches but some of the seed from the last year's red onion squash has survived. So I've got these squashes climbing up the bean frames as well as the runner beans. But that's great because they'll thrive on the nitrogen that the bean roots are fixing. And I've got some of Pippa's sugar squashes as well, and they're growing everywhere. And they're lovely little round, chunky yellow squashes that will ripen to a deep orange. And they're gorgeous, they're
what
gorgeous.
What do you do with those? I never know what to do with squash.
Squash soup. Sarah makes a lot of squash soup, nice hot squash soup.
They're
nice roasted with maple
squash?
syrup as well.
No?
If you what's that?
Are you supposed to squash?
No, you don't need to squash it. It's very. I suppose it's very soft, fleshy vegetable anyway, isn't it? But it's really nice roasted with some maple syrup as part of a Sunday roast or something like that. That's quite a nice way of doing it.
No squashes have come.
No squashes. No, they're not ready yet. Autumn.
Right.
Autumn. So a bit later on, around about end of September. And sweet corn, I've grown some of Pippa's sweet corn, and that's really. And I was kind of worried about that because it's so much rain, and sweet corn, it thrives on sunshine. But with that couple of weeks of sunshine that we've just had prior to this recent deluge, I've really spurned it on. So there's some nice. The tassels are all coming, so I'm looking forward to some really tasty sweet corn. But actually, if you just pick it straight from the stem and eat it there, it's the most beautiful, sweet, flavoured goodie you'll ever eat.
Fast food?
Fast food. And we often, whenever I'm fraping up through the vegetable patch to feed the chickens, I just grab a corn off the cob and just eat it there and then, and chuck this kind of half-eaten corn in with the hens. It's a fantastic way of eating. It's so good for you as well because, of course, you've got all the sugars. I mean, that's the thing with vegetables, really. The key is to pick them just before you're going to eat them because the sugar just deteriorates, turns into starch immediately after picking. So with anything at all, French beans or runner beans, kidney beans, anything like that, pick it and cook them straight away.
So what's the problem with that? Does it taste better if you pick it fresh? Or so what if the sugar's turned to starch?
It tastes a lot better. It's much sweeter. You've got that sweetness then, and that's what makes a vegetable. If you go into a supermarket, vegetables on the shelf for 3 or 4 days, it's rubbish really. That's why growing your own veggies is such a treat anyway. Not only are you providing for yourself, but of course you're growing something that is infinitely better than anything you could possibly buy. Even if it's organic and as fresh as it could be, it's not going to be as fresh as your own veggies. My
mystery with veggies is, when to plant them and how much do you have to prepare the soil? And what if you haven't got much space, which one to put in? It all seems such a mystery. And other people come and pick holes in it, don't they?
Yeah.
So you get people around your garden.
Yeah.
And because it's a mystery, they take the mick of you, don't they? They come around and say,
that.
your runner beans aren't very good, are they?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. And then they say, haven't you noticed that you've got carrot fly or something? Or can't you see you've got blight? And you're thinking,
yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to plant them and them to grow. Don't you?
No, that's because no one ventures out to my veggie patch.
I was going to say, is that because you're noddy no?
Yeah, that's what it is. But we've got, we've got our vegetable patch is terraced, so it's on a bank. And it was on a slope, and then I sort of terraced it. It's much easier to get around. Also, you don't have to tread on the beds, little windy paths between the beds, which reduces the need for tillage. But it's so easy. And actually with green manure, that's another thing we'll be selling through the weekly catalogue, is green manure as a grazing rye. You can quite literally sow it now. This time of year, sow it after your potatoes have come out. Really, there's a lot of things. You take your onions and your garlic out now, they're all out. So they can be replaced with some grazing rye. And you just sow it and it fixes the nitrates. And you can just dig it in. Lift it over in sort of February time and dig it in, and it negates the need for the horse. You don't need to put horse manure on the ground, and also, of course, it excludes weeds. So that's why I quite like it.
See, there's a book I've been looking at, which I think takes a lot of this mystery out, because you've just added another mystery there of green manure, haven't you? You know, when am I going to do that? How much? But there's this great book by Carol Klein called Grow Your Own Veg.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good book. And it's a good book, actually. It's not. It's very well written, because I think Carol Klein's quite grounded and so completely unpretentious. So
I like her jacket.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about her voice, but...
Yeah, but her jacket's cool.
Yeah. She is really informative. It's a good book. It's well written and well worth a read, really. So we'll
review
kind of selling that as well, aren't we? Yeah,
once we've got
take some tips
our
out of that.
chocolate in to be able to do the chocolate rating.
Right.
So we'll review Carol Klein's book, Grow Your Own Veg, at that point.
I'll tell you what we could do as well sometime. I don't know whether we'll have a chance, but what we could do is buy some supermarket veg and then perhaps cook up something simple like a supermarket courgette and a fishball courgette and some supermarket runner beans, fishball runner beans, and then if we have a taster with us three, just have that'll be ideal.
Fantastic.
That'd be quite cool. See if it works. It'd be bloody embarrassing if the supermarket was so used. Oh, yeah, this is the nicest one. You can see why people like Hugh Fernley watch their guests. You've got to pick the right one, because this would be so embarrassing.
If that happens, we'll just edit over it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Of course that won't happen. Now we've got Alison coming up in a moment with Plant of the Week, which I can't wait for because it's a smelly one. Anything else you want to tell me about your veggies?
One thing that I've been doing a lot of this year, there seem to be tons and tons of caterpillars at the moment. So I've been going up squishing caterpillars. And there's two...
Is that a technical term?
No, it's quite simple. You get your wire mesh off your cabbages that's there to stop the pigeons, but it's not quite... The mesh size is too large to stop the caterpillars, to stop the cabbage white butterflies going on there. So of course I've got to rummage in amongst, and it's, I've got these lovely big purple hearts on the red cabbage coming, and I've noticed that on the outside these little pests have been munching away right into the hearts. They don't eat the gash leaves on the bottom. They want the best bit as well. Typical. So I've been there squishing caterpillars. In some respects it's quite rewarding, but there are points, like for instance when the juice squishes and goes in your eye. That's quite annoying.
Why don't you feed them to the chickens?
Yeah, well, I've been feeding them to the chickens, and also I've been making this kind of caterpillar soup to use as a sort of fertiliser. So give it a trial against the
We're not
bokashi.
tasting that then.
No, we're not eating that. No. That's purely for the benefit of the tomatoes.
So what are you doing with it?
But there's two types of caterpillars. Now, for the benefit of the listener, I know the one is this kind of mottled black and green caterpillar. Now,
I've seen him.
That's a large white.
I've seen him.
I know those.
Yeah,
we know those
that's
everywhere.
easy.
There's another caterpillar on there, completely green. They're equally as numerous. I don't know what they are. I don't know whether they're perhaps the small white or whether they're some type of moth caterpillar. I mean, their fate is the same as the cabbage white.
Could you not nurture some for the programme?
Yeah, well, I suppose I could do. I'd have to quarantine them, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want any escapees really
Maybe a
affecting
shoebox
my plant.
structure.
Perhaps I should rig something up.
Yeah.
And then we can just hatch the suckers out and see what they are.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Richard, that it seems to me that your attitude to pest control is you love them when they're in my garden. So the hornet's nest in my garden is absolutely wonderful, and you wax lyrical about it and write an article for Wave magazine, how wonderful it is to see all these bugs and things in Heather's garden.
Yeah.
But in your garden, you have a wasp nest, and first of all, you blow it up. And second of all, you have a few caterpillars on your cabbages, which you spend your life squishing.
Yeah, that's right. It's a difficult one, isn't it? The balance.
Oh, yeah, it's very difficult. I'll have the pests and you have the veggies.
There doesn't seem to be many natural allies around this year, because previous years I've seen little tiny parasitic wasps laying their eggs inside the caterpillars, and I've kind of left the caterpillars and they've died out quite nicely. But this year I know for a fact that... I mean, I've even planted loads of dummies around, like nasturtiums and whatnot, to try and draw the butterflies away. But they're as inundated with caterpillars as the brassicas. So, lots of squishing going on. It's something I've been doing. Terry Walton said, soak rhubarb leaves in water. So in a copper, I put all these rhubarb leaves, lots and lots of water, and I've got an old lid from a 40-gallon drum, painted it black so it absorbs lots of heat, and put that on the top of the copper. And I've got this simmering mass of hideousness in the copper, and I've been pouring that onto the brassicas, and it's re-stimulated their growth. But I've got to say, it's done all to keep the caterpillars off. But they love the nutrient in it.
What about your new DE? I can't say it.
Oh, the diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, would that do anything?
It probably would do, but the trouble is, again, it would just wash off because of all the rain. But it probably would. I'm just wondering. It probably. Yeah, it'd be worth a try, actually. I might, if we get another dry period, I think I'll just squirt it on some caterpillars just to see if it has an effect. But
and the top few uses of diatomaceous earth?
Well, they're great for chicken houses because they bump off the mites of the chicken house. So if you've got one of those little puffer bottles, they're only a couple of quid, aren't they? And you just quite literally puff some of this powder in the nooks and crannies of a chicken house.
Couple of quid?
Any mites.
This is Wiggly Wigglers.
Yeah, that's
It's got to be a tenner, else it's not worth putting in the catalogue. Let me see.
How much is it?
A couple of quid. I hope you haven't got that by me.
I think I might be slightly. My couple of quid is a euphemism, isn't it?
Oh, that's all right then. I was going to say, because it's not worth posting a couple of quid.
It means not that expensive.
Yes, I should look it up.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Yes, you puff it where?
And you can, and it kills all the red spider mites and whatnot. The reason that I wanted it originally was to squirt in the wormery to see if it could reduce the fruit fly populations without hurting the worms.
£4.50.
Right, a couple of quid.
That's all right.
So that's good stuff. That really is a good all-rounder. But it's also good to put in chicken feed. Stop the chickens getting worms. It's a relatively inexpensive additive for your chicken feed along with your bokashi.
I saw some Rhode Island red chickens at Hay.
Were they handsome?
Wow! They were whoppers.
Really?
They were at least 400 mil long.
Right.
Whoppers!
Right.
I really wanted them.
Hens or cockerels?
Yeah, hens.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that big.
It's a shame, actually, because if I'd have known you were going up there to need to see some decent Rhode Island reds, because I want 2 Rhode Island red hens for my light Sussex cockerel, because I want to get because they're a really good cross for meat.
Really?
Yeah, Rhode Island and a light Sussex are a really good meat bird.
Oh, that's a shame, but I couldn't have brought them to you because I was in that posy convertible car.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been quite the thing.
Yeah, BMW Roadsters don't really double up as a chicken carrier sleigh.
Z4, but it's not mine, in case any listener thinks it is. Right, I'm going to get Alison for Plant of the Week.
Okay.
I'll be gone in a minute. I'll be back. Alison has joined us. Welcome, Alison.
Hello.
And just before Richard asks her all about Plant of the Week, there's 2 things that I'd like to share with you. First of all, for those of you who were listening earlier and heard the facts come in and wondered what it was, I found it. And it was a collection note for winter wheat, and there's 29 tonnes to go out to CPP Twyford. So that little mystery's been cleared up. Anyway, Alison's here with Plant of the Week. Over to you, Ricardo, because I know that you went to Alison's to do an interview with Alison, and there was a bit of a moment.
Well, we didn't manage to link up, did we, Al?
No, I wasn't in the right county, I'm afraid, Rich.
Right, no, it's one
I
of those.
did leave a message.
One of those things, anyway. But we wanted to talk. What we wanted to do is do a little thing and look at honeysuckle growing in the hedges, didn't we?
Yeah, especially by us, because we've got like loads of it. We've got really old hedges down our lane, and it just looks so lovely this time of year. But you want to be quick, Rich, or you're going to miss it.
Well, hopefully we can sort something out next week. But the honeysuckle, Al, a beautiful, native, sweet-smelling gem of a plant.
Yeah, it's in the hedges at the moment, in full flower. It does ramble through the hedges and looks absolutely stunning this time of year. Right. And then when the flowers go over, it turns to a nice red berry. Bullfinches absolutely love the berries. Right. So if you want to attract bullfinches into your garden, then you want to plant a honeysuckle, really. It is one of our new plants coming in this next catalogue.
Go, girl, go.
So you can
I mean, how long? Are they slow growing or are they quick? I mean,
they're very quick growing,
kind of ramble,
and they will grow up to sort of 20 foot if you let it. You just need to keep trimming it back, but it's very controllable.
They do better, don't they, if they're cut back a bit hard? Anyway,
if you cut them back hard, they'll spring out new shoots, which always look nicer than the old stemmy growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And the red berries, and I think they're quite a significant part of the diet for dormice as well, aren't they?
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Dormice are a little bit partial to honeysuckle. Quite an important feature in woodland, really, if there are any dormice around, because they tend not to get the opportunity to eat many hazelnuts and things like that, because the grey squirrels eat them all, of course.
Yeah, but the flowers are supposed to have the sweetest and best scent of all British native flowers. suspicious wildflowers.
Right. That is a thing with honeysuckle. It has a very dense scent, and if you're kind of wandering past a hedgerow or something on a relatively windless evening, you walk through this thick, sweet smell, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah, and it attracts moths and things, all sorts of things at night, because that's when the scent is at its highest.
Oh, is it? In the evening?
In the evening, yeah. Lovely.
Many breeds of cat react to the scent of honeysuckle.
Really?
Yes.
Many breeds of cat.
Yes, they like to paw, lick or rub against it.
Really? And there are different breeds of domestic cat.
Obviously.
Really?
The wood of honeysuckle...
I thought they were all the same. I thought they were all just vermin.
What do you think Noah is?
What do you think Noah is? Noah is her Burmese. The wood contains nepetalactone, which is the active ingredient found in catnip.
Ah, good Lord.
There you go, Rich. You can buy some since you don't like cats.
Absolutely. No, I've got a shotgun.
It makes cats growl and meow. It only lasts for a few minutes before the cat loses interest. Sorry.
There you are. Alison, when is a good time to plant honeysuckle?
Well, if you're planting a native hedge, you can do it this autumn.
Okay.
So it rambles up within the hedge, or you can always, because it's supplied as a pot plant, you can add it all year round, really.
Right.
But if you're doing a hedge, then you want to do it at the same time.
I think it's quite robust, doesn't it? So does it need a lot of moisture?
It likes moisture, well-drained soil and full sun.
So a sunny spot.
Yeah, nice sunny spot.
Excellent. And can you have it it loses its foliage in the winter time, so it's something that perhaps you could have growing up a trellis on the side of a house?
Yeah, it's good for ground cover or covering spaces in the garden that look a bit ugly, or over a garden shed, that sort of thing.
I know where I'm going to put one, Al.
Oh, where?
Over the top of the greenhouse, because they've measured the greenhouse to the wrong height, so it's slightly higher than the wall.
Yeah.
So could I put it over the top of the wall?
Yeah, go over there. Plant it now in the autumn.
Yeah.
It'll be rambling well over there next summer.
Right, I'll do it. Is that all right, Rich? Can I do it
be
there?
great. Yes, it's a nice shady greenhouse.
No, I meant round the back.
It does with shade of that greenhouse. It's bloody hot in there.
Oh, you should have measured it right then, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Nothing to do with me, honey.
Suckle. Oh, if you'd like to subscribe to this podcast, you've got to go to iTunes. Otherwise, if you go to Facebook, you can just click and listen. And now we've updated every single chapter on the Wiggly Podcasts in www.wigglywiggles.co.uk/podcasts. And that means that you can go and find any little specific bit that you really enjoyed in the Wiggly Podcast over the last 98. So, enjoy. It's goodbye from me, Heather at Lower Blakemere.
And goodbye from me.
And bye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Bye.
I thought Phil looked really tired today. When I saw him in his office earlier on, he was there contemplating his navel, and I said, "Yeah, Phil, you look quite tired."
He does look tired,
He does.
but I can actually give you the secret of his tiredness.
Right.
It's not that Farmer Phil has been combining into the night.
No.
It's not that Farmer Phil has been, tending his stock till midnight. No. It's that last evening I said to Farmer Phil, "Time for bed," as I do.
Yeah, well.
Just get the Horlicks. And I said, "Get the hot water bottles done." Just need to get the check rug out, put it over the end of the bed. Jimmy Jammers. Nothing happened.
Does Phil wear pyjamas?
Little check pyjamas. No, anyway, and this morning he was there, and I said, "Well, you didn't come to bed then?" Obviously he did, because he was there. And he said, No, I was rather busy. I said, "What were you doing?" He said, I was just catching up on Facebook.
Going in and something. That's actually a bit of input from Farmer Phil on Facebook. It'd be great. Did you go
Yes.
onto the discussion board?
I've been on the discussion board for weeks, Ricardo. Have you
No,
not been paying attention?
no
We've had
comments.
a lively foot and mouth discussion on there.
Is it? I must have missed that one.
Yeah, so dear listener, this will be a couple of weeks ago from you, but
It's,
here we are.
it'll be interesting to see what you've put then.
Well, if you caught up on Facebook, Rich, you'd find out, mate.
So there's an interesting foot and mouth discussion, in...
the fuse has blown.
We were doing so well, it's all suddenly ground to a halt.